My wife broke down crying, then told me she wanted another baby with her ex, and expected me to fund it. I said, "Say that again?" She repeated it, so I called my lawyer while recording everything. I, 34 male, had been with Miranda, 31, for 7 years total, married for the last 4. We met at a charity wine auction in Boston where I was representing my architecture firm and she was there with her art gallery connections. She had this laugh that filled a room, this way of making everyone around her feel like they were the most important person in the world. I fell hard and fast. Miranda came into the relationship with baggage, we all do. She had a 6-year-old daughter, Lily, from her previous marriage to a guy named Derek. He was a commercial pilot who traveled constantly, and according to Miranda, their marriage fell apart because he was never home and she felt like a single parent. When we started dating, Derek had minimal custody, just 1 weekend a month because of his flight schedule. I didn't mind. I'd always wanted kids. And Lily was a sweet kid who loved drawing and asked a million questions about everything. I went all in on being a stepdad. I showed up to every school play, every parent-teacher conference, every soccer game. I helped with homework at the kitchen table. I learned to braid hair through YouTube tutorials because Lily wanted fancy braids like her friends. When Miranda and I got married in a small ceremony in Cape Cod, Lily was our flower girl, and in my vows, I promised to love and protect both of them. I meant every word. Our life seemed good. I was making decent money as a senior architect, enough that Miranda could run her art gallery without the pressure of it being our primary income. We bought a 4-bedroom colonial in a good school district. We took family vacations to Disney and the Outer Banks. From the outside, we probably looked like the perfect blended family. Miranda's Instagram was full of carefully curated photos of our happy moments, always with captions about gratitude and second chances and finding your person. But there were cracks I didn't want to see. Miranda had stayed friendly with Derek, which I understood at first. They shared a daughter they needed to co-parent. But the texts seemed excessive. The phone calls that she'd take in another room. The way she'd mention him constantly. Derek said this about Lily's grades. Or, Derek thinks we should consider this summer camp. When I brought it up, she'd accuse me of being insecure or not understanding the complexities of co-parenting. Then Derek's flight schedule changed. He got assigned to domestic routes and suddenly he was around more. His once-a-month weekends became every other weekend, then midweek dinners. Miranda insisted this was good for Lily, and she was right. Lily deserved a relationship with her biological father. But something shifted. Miranda started dressing up more for the custody exchanges. She'd linger in conversations with him at drop-offs. I pushed my concerns down, telling myself I was being paranoid. The breaking point came on a Tuesday evening in March. I'd come home from work around 7 after a long day, dealing with a difficult client who kept changing their mind about building specifications. Miranda's car was in the driveway, which was normal, but the house felt off when I walked in. Too quiet. Lily was at a friend's house for a playdate, I remembered. I found Miranda in our bedroom, sitting on the edge of our bed, mascara streaked down her face. She'd been crying, that much was obvious. My first instinct was concern. Had something happened to Lily? To her parents? I dropped my messenger bag and rushed over. "What's wrong? Is everyone okay?" I asked, sitting beside her and putting my hand on her back. She looked at me with red, swollen eyes and said, "We need to talk." Those 4 words. Every relationship has those 4 words that signal the end of something. I felt my stomach drop, but I tried to stay calm. "Okay, talk to me. What's going on?" Miranda took a shaky breath. "I've been thinking a lot about our family, about what I want, about what's best for Lily." "Okay," I said slowly, trying to follow. "Lily's been so happy having Derek around more. She lights up when she sees him. And Derek and I have been talking, really talking, about the past and what went wrong and whether we gave up too quickly on our family." I felt cold. "What are you saying, Miranda?" "I'm saying that Lily deserves to have her real family together. She deserves to have both her biological parents under one roof. And Derek and I have been reconnecting, and we think we owe it to her to try again." The words hit me like a physical blow. "You want a divorce?" "I want what's best for my daughter," she said, her voice rising. Can't you understand that? You're not her father. You've been great, and I appreciate everything you've done. But Derek is her dad. She needs her real father, not a substitute. 7 years. 7 years of showing up, of loving this child like she was my own, and I was being called a substitute. But that wasn't even the worst part. That came next. Miranda wiped her eyes and continued. And Derek and I have been talking about expanding our family. Lily's 8 now, and she's been asking for a sibling. We think it would be good for her to have a brother or sister to cement our family unit.
Daher.
You want to have a baby with your ex-husband. With Lily's father, she corrected. And here's the thing, we need to figure out the logistics. Derek's finances are tight right now. He's trying to buy a condo, and babies are expensive. The IVF costs alone are significant because we want to make sure everything goes smoothly this time. My brain was trying to process what I was hearing. IVF. Yes, we've already had a consultation. It's about $20,000 for a full cycle, plus there are medications and monitoring appointments. And then there's the nursery setup, the baby gear, the medical costs for delivery. We've calculated it out, and it's going to be around $50,000 total to do this right. I stood up from the bed, needing distance. Let me get this straight. You want to divorce me, get back together with your ex, have another baby with him, and you're telling me this why? Miranda's expression shifted to something that looked almost annoyed. Because you're going to need to help financially. This house is in both our names. Your income has been supporting our lifestyle. When we separate, you're going to owe spousal support, and we need to negotiate how much. I'm asking if you'd be willing to contribute to the baby fund as part of our separation agreement. It would be good for Lily to have a sibling, and you care about Lily, don't you? The audacity was breathtaking. You want me to fund you having a baby with another man. I want you to do the right thing for the child you've been raising, she shot back. This is about Lily's happiness, about giving her a complete family and a sibling. I know it's complicated, but I thought you'd understand. You've always said you'd do anything for her. Something in my chest cracked. The manipulation was so clear now, so obvious. How had I missed it? How long had she been planning this? Say that again, I said quietly, pulling out my phone. What? Everything you just said. About wanting me to pay for you to have Derek's baby. Say it again. Miranda looked confused but also defiant. I don't understand why you're being difficult about this. Yes, I'm asking you to financially contribute to the baby Derek and I want to have. It's for Lily's benefit. She deserves a sibling, and since your income has been part of this family's finances, it's only fair that you help with this transition. I'm trying to be reasonable here. I could ask for a lot more in the divorce. I was recording. Massachusetts is a one-party consent state, something I knew from when I'd had to record client meetings for liability purposes. I was documenting every word she said. Let me make sure I understand completely, I continued, keeping my voice level. You've been reconnecting romantically with Derek. You want to divorce me to be with him. You want to have another baby with him using IVF. And you expect me to pay approximately $50,000 to fund this baby that has nothing to do with me. When you put it like that, you make it sound terrible, Miranda said. I'm trying to do what's right for my daughter. Our daughter, the daughter I brought into this relationship. You knew I had a child when we got together. You knew Derek would always be part of our lives. I can't help it if Lily needs her real father. And the baby? Pressed. Would give Lily a full-blooded sibling, someone she'd have forever. Derek and I made Lily together, and we want to give her a brother or sister. We've actually already started trying, but the doctor recommended IVF for better chances at our age. This isn't a sudden decision. Derek and I have been working on this for 3 months now. 3 months. While I was living in this house, paying the mortgage, being a father to Lily, my wife had been planning a whole new family with her ex. I stopped recording and opened my contacts. Miranda watched me, her expression shifting from defiant to uncertain. What are you doing? She asked. Calling my lawyer, I said, pressing the number for Stephen Cho, the attorney who'd handled our house closing and who I knew also did divorce work. Right now, it's after 7. Stephen takes evening calls from clients. I waited as it rang. This is ridiculous, Miranda said, standing up. I'm trying to have an adult conversation with you about our separation, and you're being childish. I thought you were mature enough to handle this. Stephen answered on the third ring. Hey, Marcus. What's up? Stephen. I need to retain you for a divorce case immediately. I have recordings of my wife admitting to an affair and demanding I pay for her to have a baby with her affair partner. Can you take my case? Miranda's face went pale. Affair? I never said affair. Derek and I haven't done anything physical. We've just been talking about possibilities. I held up a hand to quiet her while Stephen confirmed he could meet me first thing in the morning. We set an appointment for 8 a.m. at his office. When I hung up, Miranda was shaking her head. You're overreacting, she said. This isn't an affair. Derek and I have been discussing what might happen in the future as co-parents. I haven't cheated on you. You've been trying to conceive with him for 3 months, I said flatly. What exactly do you think trying to conceive involves? Her mouth opened and closed. It's not like that. We were just tracking cycles, talking about timing, making plans for after the divorce. After a divorce you hadn't told me you wanted until tonight. While living in my house, spending my money, letting me parent your child. That's betrayal, Miranda. That's deception. And demanding I pay for your new family? That's insanity. I have rights, she said, her voice rising. I gave up my career flexibility to raise Lily. I'm entitled to support. Any lawyer will tell you that. Maybe you are entitled to some support, I agreed. But you're not entitled to $50,000 for IVF treatments. You're not entitled to me funding your life with another man. And you're certainly not entitled to my continued kindness after this conversation. I went to the closet and pulled down a suitcase. What are you doing? Miranda asked. Packing. I'm going to a hotel tonight. Tomorrow I'm meeting with my lawyer, and we're going to have a very different conversation about this divorce than the one you were planning. You can't just leave. What about Lily? She'll be home in an hour. That stopped me. Lily. Sweet Lily, who I'd read bedtime stories to, who called me her bonus dad, who'd made me a Father's Day card every year. This was going to devastate her, and it wasn't her fault. I'll stay until Lily gets home, I said. I'll say goodnight to her like normal, and then I'm leaving. You can tell her whatever you want about why I'm not here in the morning, but I won't lie to that little girl. You're being cruel, Miranda said. I'm being honest. There's a difference. Lily came home at 8:30, full of stories about playing at her friend's house. I listened to every word, helped her brush her teeth, read her favorite book about a dragon who was afraid to fly. When I tucked her in, she hugged me tight and said, Love you, bonus dad. Love you too, kiddo. I managed, my throat tight. I left that night with one suitcase and a recording that would change everything. Over the next 2 weeks, Stephen Cho worked his magic. The recording was damning evidence of Miranda's expectations and her admission that she'd been planning this for months while allowing me to support the household. Massachusetts doesn't technically have fault divorce anymore, but judges still consider conduct when dividing assets and determining support. Derek, it turned out, had been documenting his renewed relationship with Miranda on social media. Posts she thought were private, but which his profile had set to public. Photos of them at lunch dated back 5 months. Screenshots of flirty comments. Evidence that contradicted her claim that nothing physical had happened. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. I kept the house. Miranda got minimal spousal support for only 2 years because the judge found her conduct particularly egregious, given her demands. She got no contribution toward any future children. I got to keep my retirement accounts intact. The hardest part was losing Lily. I had no legal rights to her as a step-parent, and Miranda made sure to cut off all contact. I wrote Lily letters that I keep in a box, hoping that someday when she's older, she might want to reconnect and understand what happened. Miranda and Derek did get back together. Last I heard through mutual friends, they're living in a rental because Derek's condo purchase fell through, and they can't afford much without my income supporting them. The IVF treatments didn't work, and they don't have money for more cycles. Miranda's art gallery closed because she couldn't maintain it without financial backup. I'm not glad they're struggling. I'm not that petty. But I am glad I documented everything, that I called Steven that night, that I didn't let myself be manipulated into funding someone else's fantasy while being discarded like I never mattered. The recording saved me. Those few minutes of making Miranda repeat her demands, of getting every detail documented, protected me from years of being taken advantage of in divorce proceedings. Sometimes the best revenge isn't elaborate schemes. Sometimes it's just making sure the truth is on the record and letting the consequences unfold naturally. I'm rebuilding now, dating again slowly, learning to trust, and keeping my phone recording app easily accessible just in case. Because once you've seen what people are capable of, you never look at trust quite the same way again.